So basically, we are observing a growing convergence of social media platforms and e-commerce platforms, which brings new challenges, new risks in terms of protecting IP against piracy and counterfeiting. So this is what we're going to discuss with our dear panelists. We have on my right Delphine Sarfati. Delphine, you're the CEO of INCYBER, so the French Anti-Counterfeiting Association. You're also the president of the Global Anti-Counterfeiting Group, which is an international network of national anti-counterfeiting associations covering more than 15 countries. I prepared my introduction. Sarah, you are Senior Legal Counsel at the Motion Picture Association, based in Brussels. So the MPA is the leading voice of the motion picture and television industry. And one of your key actions is to tackle piracy. And your members are the Hollywood studio, the major Hollywood studio. Benoît Loutrel, you are a board member of ARCOM, our dear French media and online platform regulator. You are chairing the working group on online platforms. You've been director of public policy and government relations at Google France. For 8 months. Ah, it's important.
Then I realized I was really a regulator.
And you also served as a lead rapporteur for an interministerial mission on social media regulation. I think it's going to be relevant for our discussion today. And last but not least, Denis. Denis, you're investigator manager at ACE, so the Alliance for Creativity and Entertainment, which is the world's leading coalition dedicating to fighting piracy. Your members include MPA members, of course, and also other main studios and broadcasters around the world. That being said, Delphine, could you explain and also, tell us what is at stake when we talk about this issue of online social media and e-commerce platforms? Why is it so critical in terms of protecting IP? And do you have any concrete example to show how important it is to address this issue?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I would like to share some examples, but before, yes, you're right. Now, social media and marketplaces are the best way to buy counterfeit goods. Why? Because it's really complicated for counterfeiters to be really attacked by public authorities. We can find everything on internet. It's less transparent that if you have, for example, a shop in a city, or so it's really easier for all the counterfeiters to sell counterfeit goods, even. With the feeling to really propose to the consumers democratic products. So they really have a boulevard to sell fakes. Now we have some examples. For example, and I'm going to talk about dangerous products. For example, we have the example of the fentanyl, and on internet you can find medicines like fentanyl with and a very huge group of sellers of fake fentanyl was on the focus from public authorities, and they finally find a good solution for consumers to find a way to stop all this traffic. But we have this type of traffic with many counterfeit goods. You can find automotive parts, you can find perfumes, clothes, and everything you want, you can find on the web, on the fake version.
And let's stay with you one more minute. Based on your information, do you observe new tactics used by infringers on those platforms to sell their products?
Yes, you need to know that counterfeiters are really clever, sometimes more clever than us. That's the problem. And they don't have to respect the law. It's really easier for them to sell these fake products. They even invent a new lexical with some words like dupes, pink teas in China, clones, or like generic to sell counterfeit goods, and to explain to the consumers that all these products are not counterfeit goods, but some the same, like the same of the authentic one, but not totally authentic. So it's really dangerous, and they all decided to use the social media with new ways to sell products. For example, they use influencers to make the promotion of counterfeit goods. They also use live, and they sell on live session for 1 hour fakes. So it's really complicated to public authorities to stop the live, and before stopping it, we need to identify there's a live at this moment on TikTok, on Instagram, etc. So this new way of sales, it's really complicated for the companies and also for public authorities.
Thank you, Delphine. Denis, you're chasing parrots, hunting parrots. Do you observe the same developments in terms of fighting piracy on these platforms? Or do you observe other kind of trends?
Pirates, like everybody, are very adaptive. So although a few years ago when I started to take care of trying to scan the illicit content that would be republished on social media and marketplaces, they were not hiding because they did not need to. Some keywords that would directly lead to a crime like IP infringement were not hidden because they were not filtered by the platform. So let's say an illicit IPTV provider was easily making the promotion of its service on Facebook, claiming that he was selling for 10 euros per month a service that would provide 10,000 channels from all around the world and a video-on-demand library of tens of thousands of titles. And the platforms were not very proactive to have a clean environment. So associations like ours and other rights holders worked hand in hand with those platforms that started to gradually implement some filters that were preventing a very easily detectable post to be published. But as I said, they're adaptive. So although 10 years ago the keyword IPTV was very free to be published on a platform, it started to be filtered. So they started to post I.P.T.V that would circumvent those dump filters, a bit, simple. And then all the variants of a keyword that would lead to illicit content evolved. So the pirates did evolve. They stopped publishing illicit posts containing proper text, but they embedded this text within pictures. And when text within pictures started to be easily detectable, you would also find handwritten publication, photographed, and then republished. So yeah, it has changed. It's constantly changing, you know, like everything. But I would say that this is a double-edged sword, because although pirates cannot easily post illicit content, they will manage because they adapt and they circumvent. But the thing is, for right holders, representatives like us, on some social media platform nowadays, if you look for the keyword IPTV, for instance, you won't find it because your research will be banned. But the pirates, they manage. So it's, you know, we are in constant discussions with those platforms to also make sure that their filters are solid and that they don't prevent us to control that their filters are solid. So it's a difficult situation, but we've been working with them, you know, constantly, and we're trying to make those environments as clean as possible.
Thank you, Denis. Interesting to see that there is this issue of keywords. Do share the same issue of keywords, you know, the dupes for you, the IPTV for you. So, and I know some platforms are reluctant to filter based on keywords. Some other are not. So Benoit, so we hear it's an important issue. We also know that the ARCOM has the mandate to promote a safer internet in France. So with that in mind, what are the public policy that are in place to address this issue, and maybe also what are the public policy coming, the next one coming to address this issue?
I guess it's really interesting because you are starting from the issue of counterfeit goods, saying, okay, we see a new convergence between what's taking place on marketplaces and on social networks. And that's exactly it's a debate which was very strong 5 years ago, saying, what type of regulation do we need? And there was a discussion at that time saying, do we need two vertical regulation? One dealing with social networks, one dealing with marketplaces. And the EU Commission came back saying, no, we need a horizontal one, which is a DSA, which is why I'm here, because we are the agency in charge of coordinating the implementation of the DSA in France. And I guess you're proving that the Commission was right in saying what creates the issue is a limited liability of intermediaries, which is abused by some people to promote counterfeit goods on marketplaces and now on social networks. So that's why also we are trying to leverage the fact that we have this horizontal regulation to tackle the issue, because it's a direct link of the limited liability. The limited liability of the intermediary, which is reaffirmed by the DSA, is at the heart of the business model of platform, but it also creates this incentives maybe not to be proactive enough to fight illegal content on counterfeit products. So we are really trying to focus on that. And it's interesting because we started, I guess, a discussion which was very focused with IP right holders, which was on Trusted Flagger, and which was tense, because there was this question of should we work with individual companies. And over a year, the whole discussion has moved to how do we create value added with the DSA? How do we take the full advantage to make sure we have a progress? And it's opening, I think, a new avenue of really to create a capacity to circumvent those players and get them to be part of the solution, which is what the DSA is about. That was really the political request from very high level, saying we are facing all those information disorders. Illegal product, counterfeit product is one of them. We suspect the platforms are part of the issue. Can we design a regulation where we will be sure they will be part of the solution? And that's how we are working. We have been working for the past year, and we are seeing that now we have created what I call the affectio societatis, where people are coming around the table, people from the counterfeit family, and we are also coming to the same table, which is in front of the table of CNAC, Conseil National Anti-Contrefaçon, to use these new capacities that we have.
Thank you very much. So maybe, Sarah, with your legal hat, you can help us to concretely understand this impact of the DSA on the question of the trusted flagger. So we understand it's going to be an important and going to be game-changing, but concretely, what's going to change with this kind of
Yeah, thank you. Before diving into the DSA and what it brings for us, I also want to point out the limits that it has. The Digital Services Act, as you all may know, puts several, actually a graduated set of obligations on different type of intermediaries. So you have and online platforms and hosting providers. So depending generally on their size and also their involvement with the content, they have stricter obligations. And all these set of obligations actually come down to one point, and actually what also a point that Benoit was making, that you need to get them involved. So you need to have a point of contact. And that's where this is something that we usually don't have with the very rogue online platforms and intermediaries. So that's the limit of the DSA. Once you cannot contact them, and have this dialogue with them, how to actually enforce it also, it's not useful. So we even talked to that with the Belgian DSC. We gave some examples of intermediaries that are operating in Europe and actually should have a contact point according to the DSA and have a legal representative. But as they shy away in offshore territories, also the DSC said, like, we have limited jurisdiction, we cannot help you there. You have to go to the civil courts and get a side-blocking injunction with other intermediaries then. So that's the limits of the DSA. They are helpful when you have this point of contact. And so yes, the DSA puts in place a set of regulations, obligations, as I mentioned, with different intermediaries. And this point of contact is the first part. And that's where you start indeed negotiating with them. And even though the DSA was in place, I have one good example where a very large online, it was a large online platform, not a VLOP. We tried to contact them because they have an online form where we just couldn't report copyrighted content. There was no tick box. And so we tried to contact them, but there was no mailbox. Then we bumped into a chat box options, but then we were even all the time turned around with the same reply from this automated chat box. The legal representative wouldn't reply either because it's not what they're for. They're only for authorities under the DSC to contact. So just to make the point that even though they were supposed to have a contact point, the DSA is still getting this in place, and the machinery to enforce the DSA is still getting into place to have this. So once you have this contact point, indeed, you can start sending notices under the notice and action mechanism that is available, which, if you read at it in the DSA, is very basic. You would say, why put that down in a text that you need to respond to a notice that you receive and confirm receipt and also say what you're going to do? This is something very important for rights holders because we send so many rights notices, but often we don't even receive a response what they actually did with it and what they took down, and it was actually to the effect of our notice, or was it another reason that it was taken down? And so with the trusted flagger status, we hope that this could bring improvement. That once you have this status, that this is further clarified, because although the DSA says that they have to confirm this, most of the platforms, they confirm partially. They will say, yes, seen it, but what does it mean? Does it mean that you have taken down the content? What have you actually done? So there is no dialogue in what they actually did with the content, so it makes it for us really hard to measure the impact of our notices and also how we can help them take better actions and preventative measures as well. And that's where we hope that the Trusted Flagger status can open a dialogue, gives us a better position to have that in. And also other points where we hope that the Trusted Flagger status could help rights holders is, of course, more speedier treatment of our notices. It's very vaguely defined under the DSA. It says with priority. The question is, what will that be? I went this over Christmas. I went when there was almost no business. I went through all the independent audit reports from the flops and the flosses. Yes, it was a huge pile of documents. And there it was amazing to read the difference of interpretation that the flops and flosses take with what is priority. Some say it's like within 72 hours, which I think was the best in class, and others take it 5 to 7 business days. They thought that was acting with priority. So there's still a lot to be clarified how a Trusted Flagger status can really help us.
Thank you, Sarah. So these Trusted Flaggers in France, they are, it's a statute that is granted by ARCOM, our regulator. Benoit, could you let us know if we have French Trusted Flaggers so far? How many, who they are?
So, having in mind that I would be on the spot today, we have announced 4 Trusted Flaggers last week, just for you. So now we have 5 of them in France. The bulk of them at this point are to protect individuals rather than IP. We have the first one was e-enfance, protecting children. Last week we recognized point contact, which is basically protecting adults against all kind of hate speech. We recognize also IFO, which is specialized in protecting animals, wildlife, and 2 of them then are more interesting directly to you, to this discussion. One is a consumer association. It's a first for us, who wanted to be involved in, from a consumer point of view, and consumers have also an interest not to be screwed on marketplaces by buying products which are dangerous or counterfeit or illegal. So it's, we'll see whether it works or not. It's an interesting avenue for us. And the last one is directly relevant, is ALPA, who is representing all the movie and TV program industry going after counterfeit product. They have a long history in fighting that. They've been involved, having a very structured relation, typically with YouTube, and were part of the energy with broad force YouTube to organize Content ID. So clearly, it's a good partner, and we hope we'll recognize more Trusted Flaggers on different kind of IP content over time. What we are learning from this first year and from those discussions is really interesting, because we have the question continuously. What does it mean to have a priority? How are we going to use it? Clearly, I agree with you, it's vague. But vague can be useful in a way. But the issue we have is that basically we have been in this game for less than 2 years. You, at least my UNIFAB, Delphine, or yourself at the MPA, have been in this game for several decades. In fact, it started with the e-commerce directive. And I guess you have demonstrated that we can bring a lot of value with private enforcement. You go to the court and you can get a court decision. And the DSA is not trying to say we should do differently, but to add a new dimension. And this new dimension, from our point of view, having worked with everybody for the last 2 years, is saying, how do we structure the information that you have? Because all the IP holders are in their lines. They know exactly how they are being treated. And only at this point, the platform know how they are treating everybody. And we think that working with Trusted Flaggers, we will have the capacity to build, a platform will deliver the transparency report, and with the Trusted Flaggers, we will deliver counter-transparency report. And we'll have the capacity to say, okay, everybody is applying the same text, but clearly the same people who are doing the signaling individually, who are reporting the signaling through the Trusted Flaggers, are saying that this platform can do everything in 72 hours, and that another one is clearly doing completely different on delivering, I don't know, 3 days, whatever. And that will be the basis, because suddenly the discussion will not be one IP holder against a platform, but a series of IP holders saying, we work very well with this platform, not with you. So we are not the issue, you are the issue. And that what's at stake is really to have this capacity to operate at scale like the platform. Because at this point, only the platform are allowed to operate at scale. Well, people who defend our intellectual property have the same right. It's a question of organizing ourselves together, trusted flaggers and individual IP holders and the regulators, the Commission, and the DSCs, to build those structured information to demonstrate that the platform is not playing by the rule of the game.
Thank you, Benoit. Maybe a last question on this topic of how do we grant this status of trusted flaggers? And I'm not conflicted, but interested in this question because my company is also interested by the answer. I know there is a debate around organizations that earn money by detecting and sending a notification for infringement. And so far, they can't be a trusted flagger because there is a discussion at the Brussels level around that. And there's no decision so far as I know. Do you have any more information about that? Also, to complete my question, I believe, and maybe some others, that these kind of companies, receive the mandate from right owners to act on their behalf. They do that on a daily basis, so we can consider they have an expertise in this field. So it's to me, I don't know, a bit a weird situation.
I guess it's we recognize the issue, and like you, well, it's undecided yet whether it's at Brussels or in Paris or in Berlin. It's being discussed by the regulators of the DSA, which means 27 DSCs plus the Commission, and we'll reach the conclusion at some point. We understand, as you say, you have expertise, but if we have to recognize of the people who have expertise as trusted flaggers, why not also recognize the lawyers? We've got plenty of law firms which are so skilled because they've been working like you as subcontractors. So again, we are trying to say, let's reformulate the question. How can you create value? Because that's what you just said. And it's really interesting because you are the one, in many cases, who are doing the bulk of the signaling on behalf of your client. So it's true, you have knowledge and we should recognize it. Because if you follow the discussion point I was trying to make before, we realize that we have to learn how to aggregate all this information so that if you have some information on behalf of one of your clients, one of your competitors will have it also, and we need to leverage everything. So I know that everybody have been focused on saying, I want to be a trusted flagger. We are trying to say, who is creating value added? How do we create value added? And maybe we can create value added not only by being recognized as a trusted flagger. So that's the right basis to discuss. And I'm sure that at some point we are going to reach out to all people, the companies who are like you specialized, because we will need to set up this standard to have the capacity to aggregate the data. Because that's exactly what the platform are doing. And because of this asymmetry of information, which at this point they are the only one having a full view, of course it doesn't give them an incentive to be accountable. If we collectively manage to do that, we are going to rebalance the equilibrium and coming back saying, okay, you've got your picture, you're telling me this is your transparency report, this is what I've done, and this is not what we are seeing. So you will be part of the solution, maybe not as a trusted flagger.
Thank you. Delphine, a comment?
I think it's work on progress. My position is a little bit different because I represent companies and companies of different sectors of activity. So, as an association, I couldn't be a specialist on all sectors of activity, all collections, all products, etc. And if I say I can do it, I will be a liar. So I'm for sure it's complicated. But we need to find a way to collaborate and to add value to the DSA, as Benoit just said. So we work closer to find solutions, solutions for companies, solutions for associations and organizations, and finally solutions for consumers.
Thank you. So beyond all these legal obligations, and hopefully there's not only the law to make some progress, there's also other ways, and you are at UNIFAB very active in discussing, building partnerships with platforms. Do you have any lesson from this experience, and do you observe some platforms that are pretty collaborative with your approach?
Yes, fortunately, yes. We had a very strong partnership with some. For example, we work with Vestiaire Collective from the beginning. When the company was created, I remember the creators came to UNIFAB and say, okay, we would like to have a safe platform to propose safe products. So they really take care about that. We have actually a very strong collaboration with Amazon. They come at UNIFAB 1 year per month to meet companies and to discuss about how to ameliorate the brand protection actions, etc. It's not everything is not blue. But I think we are on the good direction. For example, we had very good news from Temu. They decide to accept our demand on the suppression of the word dupes on their platforms. I don't know if they will maintain that position for always or only for some weeks or some months, but it's a good step. And we have also, unfortunately, bad experience with platforms like Alibaba, all the Alibaba group, very difficult discussions, and also no collaboration as they can do. We had we have also not very good. They are very cool. We have a very good discussion with Meta, but they don't do anything. So I'm not here to have friends. My job is to defend the trademarks, and with the Meta is a little bit complicated. So. Yes, we have good guys and bad guys. Coupang in Korea, it's perfect. Also, so we have many good experience. Some of them are more complicated. For example, with Rakuten, we have a really strong partnership for many years, and the level is always good. So I hope to have this type of collaboration with all the marketplaces and also all the social media, because at the end, the trust of consumers is, I think, more important than the fee they can have with counterfeit goods.
Thank you, Sarah. The MPA is very involved as well in developing partnerships with platforms. Do you share the same observation? Do you share other observations?
Well, I thought some of the examples that you pointed out were very interesting because we have different experiences. So it seems that it depends on who you are, which contact that you have, which progress that you receive from the platform. So again, to my previous point, the contact point is so important, that she or he understands the issues that you talk about, that they have the means, that they have the tools, the direct contacts in place with the technical teams to really address what you need as a rights holder. And that's where still a lot of work needs to be done, because lots of these platforms, they have different types of services. And so you get for each different service a different contact point. And even within one platform, we see that one contact within the same company, although different services, works better than the other one, although you would think that the question is the same. So yeah, we do see that there is progress once you have this good contact point and that you have this collaboration going and understanding, and then you can start. And I think the DSA is really a minimum standard. It puts in very basic requests to the online platforms. We wanted a lot more, definitely on proactive measures. We're not yet there. Content, if you just type in a studio title from one of our members, it's all on there, and you wonder, and sometimes even for years, I see like, still, one of our members from Disney is in there. I tried Frozen, and already 2 years, this title is still on there, and I wonder, why is this still on there? So a lot of issues still, but at least we have a starting benchmark with the DSA to start talking to the platforms. This is the minimum. Let's talk and see where we can both each other help indeed with the data that is available, because that's what we often meet on our end. What do you actually do, platforms, with our notices when we ask you to take down content? Which measures do you apply? Which proactive measures? And if it doesn't work, let's see what can work, which keywords we should provide better or other information. So yeah, that is different experiences depending on which type of contact you have.
Thank you. So we still have a few minutes. Dennis, to end on a positive note. So you also use e-commerce platforms and social media platforms for your investigation, because you find intelligence on these platforms. Could you share a few success stories that wouldn't have been possible without these platforms?
Yeah. It seems that some people really like to expose their intimate life to the world. And when it happens, this is very gold for us. We had a few success stories. Without naming any regions of the world, I must say that some people in some region of the world like to share much more their intimate life online than in some other region. So the successes are partial, but a little success story, you can Google his name, Mr. Carrasquillo. So he was an IPTV operator in the US that made millions out of illicit IPTV. He was a YouTuber as well, not a very good one, but he was trying to be one. And he was bragging and showing off a lot about the 7 Lamborghinis that he had in his backyard, as well as the new villa that he bought in Miami, etc., etc. So that allowed us to come to the conclusion that he was making huge amount of money for somebody that wasn't employed on the paper. So we managed to get to this person like that. Our investigation techniques are constantly changing because the platforms, that also may be a positive note for any one of us that are on social media, are disclosing less and less easily accessible and private information about you. Back in the days, in most of social media, you would just type a phone number and you would directly find the profile related to that phone number, which is not the case anymore, or not that straightforward. So yeah, the platform allows us to find some criminals, and they are more and more protecting your privacy. So I guess it's a positive note for everybody.
Thank you very much. Do we have a question in the audience? We still have 1 minute. Régis?
Come on. No question.
No question. Do someone would like to add something?
I can share a survey we made on internet. 34% of consumer who bought counterfeit goods were thinking that there are genuine products. So I think we need to act. We had to act quickly and to really find solution, because this figure is higher for kids, and we cannot permit this type of illegal trade in Europe.
We're running out of time, but I think this is a mission for maybe ARCOM, you know. We didn't touch on education, but definitely there's something to do in this field. Thank you very much. Each of you, thank you for the audience.
Thank you.
And,